Welcome everybody to the Mind, Body, and Soul television show, coming to you live from our Denver, Colorado internet studios. I'm your host, Coach Steve Toad, and also the founder of Conscious Evolution Media, going on 10 plus years and 15 plus television shows. And we have an absolutely intriguing, fascinating guest with us this evening. Her name is Margot Pertikar, and she is a PhD in the science of metaphysics and many other things that we're going to find out during the show. In this conscious hour, our theme for this evening is the illuminated heart and mind. It's a subject very close to my heart, and I know it is to Margot's. Margot, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
And by the way, Margot is joining us from, is it Switzerland?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's 3 o'clock in the morning there, so she's being awesome.
I've had to drink I don't know how many coffees and teas to keep awake.
Yeah, your eyes are a little bit small. Like they're not completely open. All right, so Margot, if I took away that title, PhD in the science of metaphysics, and any other title that anybody has ever called you in your life, what would be left? Who is really Margot Pertikar?
I know you asked that from everybody, and everyone asks me. I really don't know what to answer to that. I'm just Margot. I'm just Margot.
That's the answer. I really don't know what to answer to it. That's the answer. There you go. Perfect. All right, so let's get related a little bit to you. I want to make sure the viewer, they have a little understanding of who Margot is and where she came from. Right. Tell us the short version of Margot's story.
My personal story. I was born and raised in Baghdad and studied in French convent schools. I left the Middle East. I was brought up in Baghdad, in Damascus, and also in India, because my father is from India and my mother from Syria. So I spent boarding school in India and high school and in Damascus every summer of my lifetime, as long as I was there for the first 2 decades. I left Baghdad when I was 19 and headed west to London. Was there 2 years, and then I met my ex-husband there, who was Swiss. I married him and moved over to Switzerland. So I had my 3 daughters here in Switzerland. Then I divorced, as everybody did who got married in the 60s.
Well, I got married in the 70s, and I still got divorced. So that's not a universal truth. Actually, I got divorced twice.
Me too.
Oh, we have so much in common. And of course, I read your book. I just want to make sure. Do you have a copy of your book?
Yes, I have it right here.
Yeah, if you want to show that to the viewers, that would be great. It's one of the most incredible books I have read recently. It's just one of those things, it's the when the pupil is ready, the teacher arrives. It's like in my spiritual journey and where I am in my own consciousness, I've been contemplating and wondering what's next for me. And Margot sends me this book, right? And I read it, and I read it in one sitting. It's not a huge book, but it's like, oh my God, this is obviously what's next for me. So I can't wait to talk about it. So tell us a little bit more about your professional life.
Well, I was in many professions, actually. I started out in fashion for many years, and I did retail and wholesale and designing and manufacturing, and then I left that, and I was living in New York, in Manhattan, for 15 years, and over there I did real estate, and then I did international banking and international trading. And then I came back to Switzerland, and that's when I left the business world behind me and started with coaching, helping people. What was so many years ago, 25 years ago, when I came back, it was into positive thinking.
This is 25 years ago.
Yeah. So I've been at it for 25 years now.
Well, yes. So, I think I've been at it for a little bit over 30, but back then, most people wouldn't have any idea what we were talking about. So
Yeah. Well, I was into.
they still don't.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think humanity has made a huge, huge,
Yeah,
huge step
huge
forward.
shift. Yeah,
Yes,
no
yes.
question. No question.
I mean, about a decade ago, I couldn't talk about intuition and telepathy and and soul and this kind of language was not
It's
accepted.
everyday. Yeah, it's everyday language now. Yeah, I
Now it's
agree.
everyday
So it's
language.
like
Yeah.
20 years ago. I don't know if you know. You ever heard the name Anderson Consulting?
Mm-mm. No.
Yeah, so it's one of the big five consulting firms back then. So I used to work for them, and I actually got fired for um, requiring my team to meditate before a meeting because that wasn't part of the HR process.
Of course
And they
not.
said that I can't force the
Yes.
employees of the company to
Yeah.
meditate. And
Yeah.
I said, well, watch me. So they
And you
fired
got
me.
fired.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It was great. It was great. You know what happened to Anderson?
Mm-hmm.
135,000 people overnight disappeared. They went under.
How? What do you mean they went
They
under?
went out of business.
I see. Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Huh. Serve them right. They didn't
Yeah.
meditate. Terrible to say.
Yes, it is. You see, you did
Yeah.
the same thing I do.
Yeah.
All right. So let's.
We have the same name as well. You call yourself conscious evolution, and
Yeah,
I spiritual evolution,
yeah.
to
You.
evolve spiritually, consciously.
Yeah. Conscious spiritual evolution
Yeah,
is
yeah,
the
yeah.
words, or are the words you use.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
yes,
very
yes.
similar. It's very similar.
Hmm. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about your. Let's get a little more good stuff from your professional life because I found some. A lot of the book, a lot of the stuff that you have in the book is really your story, your professional
Yes,
story.
yes.
So just hit on a few highlights for us, would you please?
Sure. Why don't you start me off by telling me what you thought was the next step for you that you found in the book, and then I'll take it from there.
Oh, now I'm being interviewed by Margaret. Excuse me, I am the interviewer here.
I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
Is this because it's 3:00 over there? Okay,
Maybe.
You want me to do all the talking? Well, so I'm happy to talk about that. So let's talk about. So what really hit me really hard is when I got to the part in the book where you talk about the secret chamber in the heart. So let's talk about that.
Okay, we can talk about that. The secret chamber of the heart is known to all spiritual teachings, whether it's Sufis or the Vedas, Indians, or but now it's become one calls what we call Christ consciousness, and that's what they refer to, is to discover and to activate this secret chamber in the heart. And as I write about it, it is something that is on the astral level, actually. It's a point in the astral level that they refer to as, it's as small as a tiny grain of sand and as large as the universe. And if one can find the entry to this, the connection to this secret chamber in the heart, you discover, you get empowered. You discover you have a lot of, you will have a lot of powers such as telepathy, such as you will discover the universe, actually, when you have this. And
like the other way to say it would be is who we really are, right?
Yes, you are connected then to the universe. You are connected to the source. You are connected to yourself. You are connected to your child. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is very important right now, which the whole of humanity is actually into, to activate this secret chamber in the heart. So one feels unconditional love for every being on earth, for all humanity, for animals, nature, everything. You are at one with the all. You are united with everything. So, and when you are connected to that, you cannot possibly think or do or say anything harmful. It's not possible to be that, to do that.
Or do anything
Mhm.
harmful.
Of course not. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Very
It's
interesting.
impossible to do that. Yeah. And so there are many different teachers who are teaching how to connect to the heart, how to connect to this secret chamber in the heart. And it has to do a lot with meditation, meditating and focusing on that, and connecting to this.
Yeah. So what I've been doing a lot of lately, a couple of years ago, something magical happened, which is for the first time in my life, I actually experienced the chatter in my mind go away
Mm-hmm.
for several weeks. Then it came back. Then I discovered that I can actually manage it,
Mm-hmm.
and my and I started to use it in my shows. Like I'm using it right now.
Yeah.
There's no conversation in my mind right now other than
Right.
I am just being with you.
Right.
And so there are no distractions. There's only the now, and I'm just over there with you.
Uh-huh.
I'm even hearing things that you're not saying. That's how I listen, or how I learn
Yeah.
to listen. I am in between the words, and
Yes.
so because I've been doing this stuff, I've been wondering, all right, so what's next? Like a kid.
Well, the exercise that I shared in my book about finding the Buddha within,
Mhm.
discovering the Buddha within, meeting the Buddha within, this is what I call it, is that exercise where I was meditating during my spiritual
Yeah,
studies that I did with the
right,
Arcade School.
right. I remember.
And
Yeah,
then,
the
yeah,
Buddha sitting on a lotus in a on a on
yes,
a on a water.
on water, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then
And then
and after
and
meditating
then
on that,
yeah,
and then it was me sitting there.
it was you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I think that
So
was,
yeah, the other thing that really got me, just want to share this with the viewers and with you, is how childlike I
mm-hmm,
feel that I'm becoming. So I
yes.
could I could really identify with that in your book because I have 5 grandkids, and
Mm-hmm,
some of them are really small. Like one of them is 2, the other one is going to be 5. Actually,
yes.
we're having
Yeah.
a big party for her tomorrow.
Uh,
But I'm just noticing their innocence and their consciousness that they
mm-hmm,
they don't know how to judge. They don't know any of that ugly stuff
mm-hmm,
that we were
mm-hmm.
taught, and they're just so beautiful. I just bathe in their innocence and their beauty, and
Right.
I'm taking it on that I want that.
That's what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to be childlike, not childish, but
The
childlike.
childlike.
And this is how we find to be innocent, to have curiosity for life, enthusiasm, and not to judge, just like a child, to be
Right.
fearless, really speaking. Yeah.
Right. And I've been working on getting rid of all the beliefs that I have, the ones, especially the ones that are not mine.
Hmm.
I am now able to distinguish between which beliefs are mine and which one are not. And if they're not mine and it's not congruent with who I am, I just go, I'm going to let this go because this has nothing to do with who I am or
Well,
what I'm doing.
this is something that I never had to what's the word, fight with or anything, because I had it since I was a kid. I
Mm.
always questioned everything that I heard. I questioned everything that I was told, and when what did not resonate with me, I always
Yeah.
refused to follow. And I used to ask my mother and father, for example, who said this is like this, and they would say, well, everybody. And I would say, who's everybody? Well, God
Who's
said. And
every-
I said, and
well,
I would
I
not accept
was on
it.
a,
And this was,
yeah, yeah, I was on a similar path as you, except with the
mhm,
exception that I was born into a communist country, and I was asking from the very beginning of my life, why do we believe in this, and who is it that we're believing in, and what is communism, and how come that they lying to us? And it got me into a lot of trouble, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I was questioning all of that.
So
And
where
that's all.
where were you born, Steve?
I was born in Budapest, Hungary.
I see. Okay. Okay. I have a good Hungarian
Not so
neighbor
far.
here.
Not so far from you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know a few Hungarians here, friends of mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're all over the place. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
so this took you how long to discover in terms of your understanding of this secret chamber in the heart, and where are you with it yourself? Like, I also read in the book that obviously Christ, had this, the Buddha had this, and many others, people that we can probably identify with. But where are you in this process? Where do you think you are?
Like everybody else, struggling with it. Because if I had it pat, I would be gone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be here.
Okay.
But you see,
Christ was here and the Buddha was here. So
yes,
what does that mean?
I've been aware of it for a long time because I've been reading about it a lot with all the mystical and ancient wisdom teachings and scriptures that I've read. But what they call Christ consciousness now, you see, when people talk about the Messiah coming back and Christ coming back, I believe that Christ consciousness is exactly this. When we discover this secret chamber in the heart, then we become Christ conscious, because Christ doesn't necessarily mean Jesus, right? We get this.
I don't know. What do I know? I'm just a Hungarian. Are you asking me? If I knew that, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's just to activate your heart, and you think with your heart, you speak with your heart, you behave with your heart, and then you meditate on that. And I mentioned that very briefly in my book. There are 3 flames in the heart in this secret chamber: blue, golden, and white, and pink. And if one meditates on this,
that's 4.
Three. No. It's the gold is the yellow, pink, yellow, and pink, yellow, and blue. And if you meditate on these 3 little flames, they're tiny, tiny flames in the center of the heart, in the chamber. I mean, you can turn it any way you want. You have to meditate. It's not going to come just like that.
Oh, I'm not looking for cookies, Margot. I already know better.
I know.
Yeah. I worked very hard to get to where I'm at.
Yes, it is spiritual.
It's probably nowhere.
To evolve spiritually is hard work. It is hard work. I was reading that today. I was reading something today, and that's exactly what they were saying. Also, spiritual. I was reading from a passage from the Vedas, and it said spiritual work is to evolve spiritually is hard work. So what else should we speak about? There was the heart, and then there's the intuition, the next thing, right?
Yeah, I was
the
just
intuition.
That. Yeah,
right.
That's the next thing on my list. Intuition, because I've been really developing my intuition, and I have made a deal with myself that I will never not trust it ever anymore.
Right. I've been teaching about the 6th and what I call the 6th and the 7th spiritual senses. We have the 5 physical senses, and then we have the 6th, which is the intuition, and the 7th is the mind, the universal mind, the higher abstract mind. And the intuition is has to. You cannot not trust intuition when you know that when you are in touch with your intuition, it gives you answers for everything.
I have not trusted it many times. Matter of fact, I did the opposite of what it told me.
Really?
Really? Yeah. When I was not awake and conscious, I did that all the time. It told me exactly what I should do, and
Right,
I
but
did the opposite.
you didn't listen. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, but now you do.
No, I do.
Yeah, yeah. And now
No.
there are quite a few teachers who are teaching about intuition as well now. Yeah, and again, it has to do with uh, meditating and sort of being comfortable with silence, because that's when you hear it. You have to sort of, if you constantly have chatter in your head and you're constantly speaking yourself, you can't hear it, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but but if one learns to calm down and to be silent and not to waste one's thoughts and with nonsense, then one can hear the promptings of intuition. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I say that the mind
Right.
is a the waste.
Yeah, and the higher abstract mind, which is the seventh spiritual sense, as far as I'm concerned, is it means that there is what we call the concrete mind and then the higher mind. And the concrete mind is the one that is very busy with every little detail that one wants to know, that one gets waste time on doing. Whereas the higher mind is when you learn how to get a bird's eye view of everything. So instead of looking at a part of this or that, you're looking at the whole picture, which makes it much easier to deal with people, with anything else, with any situation. Because for that, you need to be detached and to switch on the observer and the witness, and then you are able to look at things in a bigger way, what we call a bird's eye view to have. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. So, what occurs to me, we already shared with each other and the viewers that you've been divorced twice, I've been divorced twice. And what's interesting is, so I gotta tee this up in a different way. So I'm gonna be, all right. So when I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
and I saw, a very good-looking woman in a great-looking car. And somebody asked me, what would you rather have, the woman or the car? I would say, I would like the woman. And then a couple of decades passed by in my 40s. If somebody asked me the same question, what would you rather have, the
car, of course,
woman or the car? I would say the car. And a couple of more decades passed. And if somebody asked me today, what would I want? You know what my response would be?
Neither. Is that what you would say?
Yes, exactly. How did you know?
I figured.
Oh, come on.
Well, I'm older than you, I think, and that's why I have experience.
Oh, and I don't.
Yes, but I have more because I'm older.
How much older can you be? Oh my God. So, okay, so everybody on my network knows how old I am because I don't keep
How old are you?
Because I don't really care. I'm 61.
Okay. I'm 75.
Wow.
Yes.
You do extremely well.
Didn't you figure that out from my book? I don't keep it a secret either. I'm very proud of it.
No, I didn't do the numbers. No. I don't care about how old somebody is. I don't think it has anything to do with anything.
I don't feel 75 like everybody else.
You don't look it. You don't act it.
Yeah.
I think you have very similar energy that, I feel that I'm getting younger, not older. And a lot of people that are in my age bracket that I used to hang out with, they're ready to die. And I'm going like, I'm just getting started.
I still go through life like a kid in a candy store. I'm still as excited and enthusiastic about life. And I think that's the secret.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're very amazing. All right, so we talked about. Let's talk a little bit about DNA. I'm really curious. I had a whole show yesterday about DNA, but let's take a different point of view about DNA. So what were you talking about? I don't remember all the details in your book about the DNA, but I'm sure you do.
Well, I'm not an expert on DNA.
Me either.
I'm not an expert at all. From what I have read and from what I've understood is that you can actually talk to your DNA, and it makes a lot of sense. You see, when it is said that God knows everything you're doing, everything you're talking about, God witnesses everything. Now, if you think that DNA interacts, everybody's DNA interacts, and so the DNA is conscious of everything that is happening. It's even conscious of your thoughts. You can actually, your DNA, you can interact with your DNA consciously, or it happens by itself. So if you have negative thoughts, your DNA picks that up, and other people's DNA picks that up too. If you consciously talk to your DNA, you can actually control some things in your body. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, I thought there was more.
Well,
your boss for a long time, and I'm going, it's like I'm eating up everything you're saying, and I'm going, okay.
Well, you see, I mean, there's no point in me explaining to you because YouTube is full of DNA, and it explains it much better than I do. And there are other people around who are coaching and teaching about DNA. Mm-hmm. And explaining it very, very well. And there's no point in me going through that.
Let's talk about the stuff that only you can explain. That's where I want to go next.
Okay. I talked about the heart. I talked about the intuition. People talk about illumination and enlightenment, okay? Mm-hmm. And the thing is that these are processes that never ending. So when someone says, I'm enlightened, or it's from my point of view, it's enlightenment is not a goal that one has and then it stops there and you are enlightened and that's it. There are some people who are more enlightened than others, but it also goes in stages, and everybody goes through all the stages. People like you have a lot of teachers and coaches who are not as enlightened as others, and the ones who talk about being enlightened, really speaking, in my point of view, are less enlightened than those who don't talk about it.
Why doesn't that surprise me?
Because an enlightened person doesn't go around and saying, hey, I'm enlightened.
Yeah, right.
Right? They're more discreet about it.
It's very similar to, for the last decade, we had a lot of people talk about consciousness. Mm-hmm. And I just really got tired of talking about it and listening to it. So I said, I'd rather demonstrate it, and I'd rather be, I'd rather be taking, I would rather take a leadership role in my own consciousness and do the work on myself, and then make sure that on these programs that I'm doing, because I'm doing some programs that are called, for example, Living Consciously TV, which is 5 people having a conversation and a dialogue. And you can, in these dialogues, you can actually tell. I mean, I know this because I've been on the other side of it and I've been on this side of it. You can tell what consciousness feels like and what it looks like, because you get connected to it. If you open to it, you get connected to the people, and time and space completely disappears. I mean, that's my experience.
That's right, yeah. Mm-hmm. And, spirituality is really much more simple. People complicate it too much and talk about it too much rather than just live it.
Yeah, and analyze it. We like to analyze things.
It's been analyzed to death. It's been analyzed to death. Really. Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you think of this? So this is how I live my life. Okay, so this is how, if it feels good, I do it. If it doesn't, I don't.
Yes and no, but for example, it might feel good to smoke or to take drugs or whatever. It depends.
No,
It
no, it
depends.
doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because based on where I feel I am today,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't smoke. I couldn't be a drunk. I couldn't be a gambler. All those things that I used to do, I cannot do no more.
You don't do anymore now, yeah.
No.
Okay. Then it's
So,
yes, then it's right. You do whatever
I'm
feels
connected.
good.
I'm connected to my higher self, and
Right.
I believe that my higher self wants the best, and I talk to it all the time, and I say, is what I am about to do, or what I'm about to say, is this in the highest good of myself and everybody concerned? And it tells me, and I trust it.
Right. Right. Absolutely. You're right. Another thing we're going through right now is also uniting with the soul, becoming a soul person. Some people speak about this now also. It's coming up more than intuition. You know, the word human, Hu is another word for God. And before yes, God
You're
man.
not going to believe this. I got to stop you right now.
Okay. Okay.
This is why. I have asked this question almost every person that I've interviewed, and I interviewed thousands of people.
Right.
This question was going to come up in about a few seconds. The question was going to be, I know who you are, Margot, because I can feel you.
Okay.
And I need to ask you this question. Where did the word human come from? And instead of me asking this question, you already started the answer. This is outrageous. Right. This has never happened before.
Okay. Well, this comes, you see, from my studies with the Vedas. And actually, man used to be called animal man. And only when the soul was connected did the person was called human, a soul person. And being a soul person, the characteristic of a soul is everything good. It's compassion, it's love, it's generosity, it's kindness, it's gentleness, everything that is good. And so you can tell when someone is a soul person or not.
But we call everybody human. We don't.
Yes,
in society,
yes, of course.
We don't distinguish.
Of course, yes, of course, of course.
Does that mean everybody's good? Does that mean everybody's good?
No, but just because
mean that there are no bad people out there?
No, just because we use the term doesn't mean that no. But the real meaning
is. Okay, so let's clarify. I want to have absolute clarity because you're the first one ever in the last 12 years that actually offered an answer. Everybody else said, I don't know, I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay, so where did it come from? I want to hear this one more time.
I don't know where it came from, but I know I understood this because of the studies that I've made, and that there's animal man and then there's soul man, and Hu is, you know, there is also a sect called Ekankar, I think. They sang, their mantra was Hu. You know, the whole group would just chant Hu. And so that's human. It's like Alleluia, you know, the U in the Alleluia is another word for God, Who. And that's why, and of course in English it's human, not human, but human.
So okay, so what I'm getting clarity about now is that you have an understanding and explanation of human, but you don't know where it came from or who created that word.
No. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not an.
It's kind of interesting because you can Google it and you're not going to find anything.
No.
I already looked everywhere. There's nothing, nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Turning the page.
Okay.
What's
you want
next?
to talk about unconditional love? You want to talk about unconditional love?
Oh, sure.
Okay. that again is one of the goals that we are supposed to achieve when you connect to the secret chamber in the heart. Then you are only then you're capable of unconditional love. And unconditional love means that you really do not judge, and you have the same feeling of love for the whole universe, for everything and everybody. You are just so full of love. And even if you meet with violence, you still feel love. It goes even beyond what a mother, the nearest is what a mother feels for a child. Unconditional love, where the child can be as mean as evil, and the mother loves it anyway.
As you were explaining this, what came to mind immediately, what came to me is Mother Teresa.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But that's interesting, because Mother Teresa, what was it that I was reading recently that surprised me very much? That she never connected with the source, or something like that, which surprised me very, very much. But she actually lived it. I think that she had a mission. She had a special mission, Mother Teresa.
Yeah,
which
and the
had to carry
circumstances,
out in this.
none of the circumstances got in her way.
Yeah.
Which is very unique.
And apparently she was a very good businesswoman, because she got all the money that she wanted whenever she needed it. I was reading a very interesting article about her.
Very, very cool. So, so I'm curious now. So, when was the last time you went through a divorce? The second one?
Oh, that was 25 years ago. More. Wow. 25 years ago.
Okay.
I've been alone since.
Have you got into other relationships since?
No. I decided that I was going to focus on my own spiritual path, and I will not let anyone disturb me with that. Not that I'm not open. I'd love to have a mate, but it would have to be on my terms, and not someone who will dictate to me what I'm supposed to do or not. And someone who's open to spirituality as I am.
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I am on the same path. I haven't for 12 years. I have not been. No, I haven't been even that interested, really.
Yeah, same here.
I made peace with myself, and I accepted me, and I'm loving me, and I'm just letting everything else unfold. And that's not something that's that critical to me. It's like,
well, you know what I believe, and that brings me to another theme, is about the feminine energy and the masculine energy. We are all supposed to now individually activate and develop both our feminine and masculine energy to become a whole person.
Yeah.
So men are supposed to activate and develop the feminine energy within them, and the women the masculine energy, which means that one becomes independent, not interdependent.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, because what I've also experienced just in my life is that I'm not separating sexes anymore. Like to me, a male and female doesn't mean the same thing it used to mean a decade ago. It now means nothing. It's just a human being, and I'm not identifying people based on what sex they are.
Yeah. So the ones who are in relationships, God bless them, and I wish them all the best. But I believe that individually, one shouldn't really be so dependent on a partner to complete oneself. One needs now to focus on being complete individually oneself, and only then can you find also
Margot, 12 years ago, I was so dependent on relationships, I couldn't be without somebody for 2 seconds. I couldn't be with myself.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that that existed. Like if you told me that I became what I became, I would have said, you are crazy. That will never happen.
Right.
that I go to bed at night and nobody will be in my bed.
Yeah.
That will never happen. That's been happening for 12 years.
Yeah. And for me, it's been 25. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're fine.
Yes,
Obviously.
I'm absolutely
Look
fine.
at you.
Yeah. Yes, I'm fine. Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, the thing is that a lot of people can't be with themselves.
Yeah.
They don't love themselves enough. They don't enjoy their own company. I love myself. I enjoy my own company. So when I'm alone, I'm fine. And if I'm with people, I'm fine. With people that I like, that I resonate with, of course.
Yeah, I don't feel lonely anymore. Is that true for you as well? I don't feel bored. There's no such thing for me as boredom.
There is no such thing as boredom, no.
It doesn't
someone
exist.
Said to me, a long time ago, someone said to me when I was 15, I think, and I said something about I was bored, and somebody said to me, a grown-up said to me, only boring people are bored. And that stuck with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very interesting. Wow. So what do you think? How many other books have you written, Michael?
This is my 6th one. The other books, I'd like to talk about my other book. One of them is Cosmic and Universal Laws. Cosmic and Universal Laws is a list of 269 universal infinite laws, some of which are known because they're used in the business world and so on. And what happened at the time was when I was reading a lot of scriptures, and they kept referring to law of this and law of that, and I thought, oh, there must be a book detailing all the laws, and I couldn't find one, so I decided to write one myself. So every time I came across a law over a period of 35 years, I made a note, and then I did the book myself. I wrote the book myself, and it's very good because it helps people. It gives a guideline on how to behave in life and to guide one on the right path.
Is that
the law of
available?
Thought. Yes,
is that available
you
on Amazon? Do you have it handy by any chance?
No, I would have to go and get it. I don't have it right here. It's on Amazon. It's blue. The cover is blue. Cosmic and Universal Laws.
Yeah, sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to get that. So here's what's coming to me right now. So when I was reading your book, something stood out for me a little bit because, like I said, we have many things in common. You were mentioning a spiritual teacher in your book, but the name that I know him by is Adida. Does that mean anything to you?
No, Adida.
Does Young John mean anything to you?
No.
No. Interesting.
Okay. You see, the thing is, I've never had really a spiritual teacher. I'm my own teacher. I somehow have never needed to follow anybody or to have any teacher. I have a lot of answers ever since I was little. I'm an old soul. I'm a very old soul, and I had that already when I was a kid. I knew that I was here for a limited period of time, and I was supposed to do something. I had no idea what. And so I was just discovering this game of life on this very strange place with these strange people. It's true. And so I feel like a kid in a candy store, and I'm sort of figuring things out as I go along.
Wow, that's interesting. You used a language that I've used on my shows many times, called the game of life, and I had a whole series about the game of life, and it just occurred to me one day that everything that we do is a game.
It is, yes.
It
is,
and it's just like children, and I'm talking about the corporate world as well. Those are all games. People start them and create the rules, and then they break the rules and rewrite the rules, and people get so significant about these things, like like they are universal laws, and they're not.
No,
they're
not. Do you remember reading about the souls? I wrote a little bit about that, young souls and new souls and so on. The old souls have done it all, seen it all, played it all, so they're not interested.
So why are they still here? Why are you still here if you're an old soul? What are you doing?
It's funny because just today I was listening to something who was explaining old souls are from Sirius, and they are here, and they are always 50
the planet,
years old.
Right?
Yes, yes, and they are 50 years or older, and they are here to spread light and to prepare the way for the young souls, for the young crystal children and indigos. The old souls are indigos, old indigos also. Yeah. So they have this work to do, to spread light. And it's funny because that's exactly what I say in my book also. I spread light wherever I go. This is how I feel. Yeah.
Well, I feel I'm doing that on these shows on our network.
Of course.
That's pretty much what I do every day is
yes.
spread light. And I let go of all my attachments to results. You know, I used to be, at the beginning, I used to be so intense about, because this is starting a television network is a game also. I mean, I created it. And I was so intense about, you know, how many people are watching and all the people I got involved as hosts. They all wanted to know the numbers and how is it going. And they felt more successful if more people watch them. And I don't care about that anymore at all. I couldn't care less how many people watch it, because I'm just putting out the light, and people that want to receive it or congruent with the message, they will receive it, and that's all that matters. The rest doesn't matter.
Yeah. And for some people it's important to accumulate money and wealth, and for others it's not. So
so
I have fun writing these books. I have fun sharing whatever it is that I can share with others who perhaps can't figure out certain things about life or spirituality, and so I hope I'm helping them with that too.
Could you give us a recent example of it? Like somebody you helped that couldn't figure something out?
Yes, I mean, I can talk about some clients that I have who have everything really, who have a job and money and relationship and everything, and yet they're not happy, and so they feel that they need to do something. Something inside them is not right. So they find me, because I don't, so far I haven't really looked for, you know, I don't pursue looking for clients, and they find me locally, and they come to me and they explain whatever it is that they feel unhappy about something, and what it is I help them to connect with their soul. That's what it all is. It's to help them connect with their soul, with their higher self, with the source, and that gives them that anchor that they were looking for.
Very awesome. Well, you know, for me, what that is really my compass. It's like, without it, I was lost, and I would basically go for anything. With it, I'm very much on purpose. I knew exactly who I am and what I want, and everything that comes into my life is pretty much congruent with that. And when it isn't, it's very easy for me to say no to it. Is that what you're experiencing as well?
Yeah.
Cool. Which in the past, you know, before I was awake and conscious, I would go for so many stupid things, you know, like people would come, opportunities to me, and I would just go, oh, wow, that's just another beautiful shining object, and I gotta have it.
But there's nothing wrong with that. You see, we all go through that. I mean, like
I didn't say there was anything wrong with it.
No, I think it's
where did you get
fine. That? I think it's fine to.
It got me to where I am.
Yeah. It's okay to. Yeah. I mean, it's okay to have fun. It's okay to want things. It's all right as long as it doesn't go into the greedy and absolutely must have, no matter what happens. And one gets too serious about it.
Well, so where would you put addictions?
Addictions, that's a weakness. Addictions, that's if I speak about myself, for example, I have never really been addicted to anything because I have an inner alarm clock that tells me immediately. It could be my higher self when I say my inner alarm clock. But before the higher self came into my vocabulary when I was little, I just had a little inner sense that stopped me from doing anything that was. I would take risks, but I knew it was calculated risks. I wouldn't go further than what. So to be addicted.
In that department, we're not the same. Yeah, I picked up a couple of addictions along the way, and they got so serious that I almost took my life. And actually, the way this network got started is from that place. You probably heard this before or read it before. Many people go through this, that they get so deep into the darkness, into the hole, that they feel that they can't climb out anymore. That they're basically done. And that's where I was. And I basically said to myself one day that if I continue on this path that I've been doing, I'm destroying myself. And if I can't make it, if I don't have the strength to change myself and change my path, I don't want to wake up in the morning. And I changed my path, and I stopped both of my addictions. And not that it wasn't fun, because it was, but I had to give them up. And that's how I created this network, actually. This network has saved my life.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. The only darkness that I felt was when I went through my 2 divorces, because it was I who made the decision, and I had to hurt people in order to because I wanted to save myself. I would not have myself destroyed. So to save myself, I had to go through with it. And then that was a time when it was tough for me to go through that. But I felt much better for it afterwards.
Awesome.
Yeah. But smoking, alcohol, whatever other addictions, drugs or anything, no, none of that. Sex, anything, no way. Everything in the golden middle line, everything in, as the Buddha would say, the golden middle line. Yeah, not to go to any extreme.
Yeah, just have some sort of a balance between everything, and everything in moderation.
Yes, everything in moderation. Yeah, exactly.
So you are one absolutely fantastic human being.
Thank you. So are you.
That's all I have to say, Marco. It's like wow. I am just a little bit shook up. My beingness is a little bit shook up, because sometimes I think about this. I go out in the world and I see all these couples and everybody's having fun, and sometimes I miss that, and I go, is there something the matter with me that I'm not in a relationship? And there's nothing the matter with me, really.
No.
I am happier than I ever was in whatever relationship I was in, because they were not. I was a different person back then. I was not this person. I don't even know how I would be in a relationship. How do I even want to say this? I don't want to sound cocky,
but my bar is really high.
Mm-hmm. I understand what you mean. Yes.
And I haven't met anybody that would meet that bar. You know what I mean? Like they're not standing in line. You know. And
That's what I.
I'm certainly not going to go look for them. You know. So
That's
it is what
exactly
it
I
is.
said, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say if I don't meet someone who's going to enhance my life, enrich my life in every way, why would I bother to?
Yeah.
So,
and I used to do the hunt and all that. That was exciting, you know, going after ladies and la 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 la. And I just that's just gone. I mean, I'm not even, you know, you talk about when you mentioned the word dating, I want to I have the need to like throw up immediately. What do you mean dating?
Well, the only addiction I have since 25 years really is when I turned to the spiritual path. So my addiction is spirituality. That is something that I spend a lot of time on. Yeah. So that's a good addiction. That's not a bad one.
Well, I didn't catch you in that, but thank you for seeing that and admitting that. Would that be the same as being a workaholic?
No, because
it's in a good way. Well,
yes.
you have given yourself to spirituality. Maybe that's what it is.
I mean, I'm doing what for me comes naturally. This is what I need to do. It's not something that I force myself. It's not an effort. It's what I want to do. Yeah.
Well,
it feels right for me.
Does it mean, I mean, it isn't like you have to do it. It's like it's a natural flow and a natural unfolding, isn't it?
Right. Yes.
And you don't even question it. I don't even know why we're questioning it here on the show.
Well,
I guess just for the benefit of the viewers, I guess. That's what I always say. When I don't know how to explain something, it's in the benefit of the viewers.
Yes. Do you do this show every day? Do you interview someone every day?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Wow.
Much.
And you find people, you know, enough to speak about with everybody. I guess everyone is different. Everybody has something else to say.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's all different. And what's really fascinating to me, and that's why I don't script anything, because if I scripted the shows, they would be all the same.
Yes.
And I wouldn't care to do that at all. And what's fascinating to me is, like, in a way, I created this conscious evolution laboratory as the network, and I've been in it for 12 years. And what's interesting about that is that's a lot more than that. You know, even if I did a show every day, and there were times when we were doing 30 shows a month.
Wow.
So like I said, I stopped counting, but what is the effect? So the way I explain this to myself is the effect of the network directly on me is my own transformation and my own growth. It's a direct result of me being in these extremely positive conversations with some extremely people with extremely high vibrating and extremely high frequencies, sometimes to the point where I'm like, I don't have words. Like I have no words to describe my experience, and my body vibrates. I feel goosebumps. I feel it in my spine. It's just amazing stuff.
I find it difficult to speak about everything. It's not sometimes it's difficult to put into words.
Yeah.
What I experience.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I don't have the best way I can explain this is I considered a few years ago. I considered doing a show in Hungarian to make it available, because I still know people in Hungary and they're very interested in what I'm doing.
and they said, would you be willing to? And they'll spread the word, and they get people to come onto the internet and watch these shows. And I said, yeah, I'll consider it. So I looked at it and I was with it for a while, and I'm going like, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of words that I know in English that I don't know in Hungarian.
You don't know Hungarian.
How in the world could I do this show? I couldn't even explain myself. And so the reason I'm giving that as an example is because the same thing as what you said, I'm having experiences on the show and off the show that I have no words for. Like I need to be creating words. I have to create words for them to be able to explain it. And then even if I did, how would people know what I mean by it? Because I'm the one with the experience of it.
Right, because everyone experiences in their own way, and it's impossible to explain it to everybody else.
So my conclusion is that language is a limiting tool.
Absolutely.
So we must work on getting to new ways of communicating, like telepathy or other ways.
Well, we're heading that way. Actually, we're heading spiritually parallel to technology. The same way that we can communicate with technology in a very fast, rapid way, we are heading that way personally, also individually, with telepathy.
That's
and other things also. Well, people being more intelligent, having more powers than ever before, really.
Do you have experiences that you think of somebody and the next thing you know, your phone rings and they're on the phone?
Oh yes, that's since many years.
Me too. What about I'm walking on the street and I'm thinking of someone, and the next thing I know, I run into them.
Right.
That happens to you too?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
This is what, when I coach people, when I'm with people, I can sort of, see through them. I can feel what they're feeling. I can tell what they're thinking. I've always had that. I had this as a gift.
Good. What about things like that you involved in something, and before even it has a chance to turn out, you already know how it's going to turn out, and the next thing you know, it's turning out exactly that way.
Yes, also.
Is that freaky?
That's freaky. Yes. You see, I was psychic also as a child already. Yeah. And that scared some people because I could see through them. It's like having X-ray vision. And it scared people, some people. People who had a lot of darkness in them would be scared of that.
Yeah, they would be running.
When I was much younger and I didn't understand what was really going on, when people didn't like me and they avoided me, I always thought, what's wrong with me? Why don't they like me? Because I expected everybody to like me.
Nothing.
I expected everybody to like me.
You just have a repellent, and the repellent that you have is your frequency. And when they notice, they'll just go, "Oh my God, I gotta go because I can't be with her."
That's exactly what I understood later. Yes, is that the vibration, the light.
Now I'm totally okay with that. Matter of fact, I opened the door and helped them go faster. Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, the conscious hour is over, and I don't want to keep you up until the morning.
That's okay. I'm up now. It's 4:20 in the morning now.
It is the morning. So you've been absolutely fascinating. You are a very fascinating person. I love this book that you published, and I highly recommend it to everybody out there. It certainly has done some shifting for me already, and I just recently read it, and I'm going to continue to meditate on my heart and see what happens next. But I'm not going to have any expectations or whatever happens is perfect.
Right.
And thank you, Margot, for being who you are, an incredible light on this planet, and helping people every day to get closer to what's really possible. So,
thank you, Steve. You're very kind. I enjoyed this hour with you.
Yeah, I have to. It was so easy. Oh my God, it's like I grew up with you, and then we were broken apart for many decades, and this is a reunion. Where the heck you been, Margot? So thank you so much for being on the network and bringing more light to our network, and
thank you
to everybody
too.
else. Thank you for everybody else. If there's anything Margot said here this evening that touched, moved, and inspired you, please continue to watch the show. The more you watch it on YouTube, the more it will be pushed up to the top 10 every month. And when it gets there, it has the possibility to end up on public television. So thank you so much. Keep coming back, watching these episodes. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.